Hey, Shalom, Akim, Shalom. First, thank you foremost. I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. I'm going to like to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Noise and gospel brought, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. Just another quick lesson through the Spirit. Lord's will to be edifying. Kind of going off what Apostle Gabar was going into on his last lesson, going into the so-called UFOs, the UAPs, which is unidentified area phenomenon, or unidentified flying objects, or the IFOs, which is identifiable flying objects. But we know them as the chariots of the Heavenly Father, or the chariots of Israel. He mentioned a particular event back in 1952, Washington, D.C. UFO incident, when I believe it was 7 crafts at a time, which 7 represents completion, that circumvented the White House and scared the shit out of the particular Air Force at that time, and scared the shit out of the acting president at that time. Because, see, these devils, man, they know that their time is short. Okay, like it tells you in Revelation, the 12th chapter, it says the devil has come down you having great wrath because he knew that he had but a short time. So when the chariots popped up on Esau's ass, he was probably looking like, God damn, like it ain't time yet, man. You know, probably thought the Lord's getting ready to take him down. But that was the Most High flexing on him, just kind of shaking him up and wondering like, look, man, you got to get this shit done quickly because just let you know anytime I want to, I can touch you. Okay, kind of like when Yahweh Shai came and when he basically, when I believe it was when he cast the demons when he cast the demons into the swine, and they was like, you know, when the demons, they was like, what thou hast to do with us, O son of man, O son of God? It says, have thou come to torment us before the time? They looking like, wait a minute, it ain't time yet. We still got our time to put the hell on these niggas. It ain't time for you to come in and destroy us. But the demons were shook because they were like, oh shit, there go the Lord. And what the Lord do, he basically took the demons off and he cast them on the swine. And the swine, it says they ran violently, a herd of swine, violently off the cliff into the stream or the brook or the waters, man, and committed suicide, basically. Okay, so those demons know. So Esau was probably looking like, man, like, fuck, you know. But it wasn't the time yet. But nonetheless, that event right there shows you that there's a very real force, extraterrestrial force, operating right outside our domains. In fact, they dictate pretty much everything you see go down in this realm because the scriptures tell you, if I'm not mistaken, it may be in the book of Hebrews, but it tells you that the things that you don't see are controlled by the things. No, the things that you see are controlled by the things that's invisible that you don't see. Something to that magnitude. I don't think I quoted verbatim, but brothers that's studies in the scriptures, you know what I'm speaking about. You can post a precept in the comment board. I'm not going to get it, but basically it goes into how the things of the fourth dimension controls everything around you. So the wind, the sun, the moon, the stars, the people. Okay, the fact, the way grass, everything that you see around you, which is in a third dimensional sense, which is the physical world, is being controlled by the spiritual world. Okay, like right now you have angels that just circumventing the earth. Like you got, the Bible speaks of 7 archangels. You can read about that in Tobit, but only 4 are mentioned by name. But these particular angels all have a particular place in the Lord's armies on what they control and how they do things. Like you got the angel Raphael or Rapaya Allah, which means the hill of God. Rapah means to heal Allah's power. When you carry out prayers, certain prayers of healing prayers, then they go before the Most High. The angels deliver the prayers into the Most High, and then he grants who he's going to grant it to, and then he carries it out like that. It's an order. Sure, the Most High hears everything, but it's an order. The Lord deals with the perfect order. Okay, like what my man Frank Lucas say, you know, he was like, from now on, you deal with me. If you want to deal with me, you talk to him, you talk to him, you talk to me. You ain't coming straight to me. Okay, even though he's the big dude, he know everything that goes on before it happens, but the Lord deals in order. That's how he deals. So everybody ain't got access to the top, you see. But anyway, kind of getting into this just a little bit, it says from July 12th to 29th, a series of unidentified flying object UFO sightings were reported in Washington, D.C. And see, the media, well, not even the media, the people have been on Esau's ass about this. I believe like in 2011, everybody was kind of coming on the website and saying, well, look, y'all got to declassify this shit. Because as people were seeing chariots back then, especially when these smartphones started to get a little bit more advanced. You had the iPhone 7 and stuff like that. The cameras get a little bit better. The video footage was a little bit more clearer. So people was getting these particular things on camera. It wasn't just no VCR camcorders. No, people had these things recorded in their smartphones. Matter of fact, 2011, that's when the iPhone 4 was out. The iPhone 4 came out around that time. So that was one of the beginning steps of people getting advanced smartphones. And I want to say by 2021 or 2020, late 20, I believe that's when the Pentagon finally decided to declassify this whole thing on the UFOs, which they already knew about it. I'm pretty sure they got aerial footage of the chariots, and I'm pretty sure they got up and close pixelated features of the angels and know exactly who and what they are and who they're coming for. But see, Esau so much of a devil, he showed you this little blubbery of this unidentified flying object. And, shit look like a video game. He show you that because he doesn't want to show you the real deal because it'll scare the shit out you, which he's totally frightened. You know what I'm saying? That's why he's kind of dragging his knuckles on making his move, because regardless of it, it's like when you play chess, man, or if you play Connect Four, you got what they call a two-way move. When you trap somebody up in a particular way, you get them in two ways. Either way they go that way, they trap, they go that way, they trap. So regardless, you're going to be forced to make a move that you're going to get caught up in. And if you don't make a move, you're still going to get caught, because the Most High is going to force you to make the move, because the scriptures say that the Lord ruleth in the kingdom of men. Okay, and he works on the minds and the hearts of the kings, of the rulers. So Yahweh Shem Yahushai is working on the mindset of these particular rulers of these societies, man, to make their move. So either way it goes, you're going to meet. Lord said you're going to meet your creator, man. Okay. But it says, and later became known as the Washington Flap, as Washington National Airport sightings, or the invasion of Washington. But the most publicized sightings took place on consecutive weekends, July 19th through 20th and July 26th through 27th. And I don't know if it's any significance behind those particular dates. I have to research it. But usually there's some type of, a significant event behind those dates, but we'll see. But it says UFO historian Curtis Peebles called the incident the climax of the 1952 UFO flap. Never before or after did Project Blue Book and the Air Force undergo such a tidal wave of UFO reports. Okay, so they got publicity and Air Force reaction. It says the sightings of the July 19th through 20, 1952 made front page headlines in newspapers around the nations. It says a typical example was the headline from the Cedar Rapids Gazette in Iowa. It says it reads, saucer swarm over the Capitol in large black type. But by coincidence, the USAF Captain Edward J. Ruppelt, the supervisor of the Air Force Project Blue Book investigated into UFO sightings, was in Washington at the time. But however, he did not learn about the sightings until Monday, the 21st, when he read the headlines in the Washington area newspaper. But after talking with intelligence officers at the Pentagon about the sightings, Ruppelt spent several hours trying to obtain a staff car so he can travel around Washington to investigate the sightings, but was refused. Only his generals and senior colonels could use staff cars. But he was told that he could rent a taxi cab with his own money. But by this point, Ruppelt was so frustrated that he left Washington and flew back to Blue Book's headquarters. Okay, and that was that. So it goes into White House concern and CIA interests. It says CIA historian Drew Hines in his 1997 history of the CIA's involvement with UFOs also mentioned Truman's concerns. It says a massive buildup of sightings over the United States in 1952, especially in July, alarmed the Truman administration. It says on 19 and 20 July, radar scopes at Washington National Airport and Andrews Air Force Base tracked mysterious blips, but on July 27, the blips reappeared. And the CIA will react to the 1952 wave of the UFO reports by forming a special study group within the Office of Scientific Intelligence and Office of Current Intelligence to review the situation. But Edward Toss reported for the group that most UFO sightings could be easily explained, but nonetheless, he recommended that the agency continue monitoring the problems. But allegedly, when they went there, they disappeared on them. Okay, and I'm not going to read all this. This is pretty long. You brothers can look this up and read it. It was actually a video I wanted to play, which I should have played it at the beginning of the video that I'm doing, because technically speaking, if they decide to copyright this or take this down, I could have just easily edited it out at the beginning of the video. The infographics show, I'm not sure if they're going to take it down, but you know what? We're just going to go through the spirit, and it's just going to be a 2-minute clip. It's really 14 minutes and 4 seconds, but I'm going to play like 2 minutes of it. That way I can go out and edit it if I need to, but we're going to play a couple of minutes and get a couple of scriptures, and that'll be that. So here we go.
In the summer of 1952, a series of strange sightings took place in Washington, D.C. From July 19th to July 27th, authorities were inundated with reports of unexplained objects in the sky and extraterrestrial craft. The people observing these unidentified flying objects, or UFOs, weren't just ordinary citizens. Air traffic controllers and pilots were among the first to detect strange craft and even stranger phenomena, ranging from weird white glows to orange balls of fire repeatedly over those few weeks. These events panicked everyone from local D.C. citizens all the way up to President Harry Truman, who called the Air Force to demand an explanation for what was occurring. Was Washington, D.C. truly experiencing an alien invasion? Imagine you're a reporter working at the Washington Post in 1952. You're a journalist reporting on breaking news and current events for one of the most prestigious publications in the country, and you're still blissfully unaware of what terms like clickbait and BuzzFeed mean, and how they will ruin your entire profession. On Saturday, July 19th, just before midnight, you get a tip that air traffic controller Edward Nugent has spotted 7 suspicious blips on his radar, located 15 miles south-southwest of the city. It can't be a cause of human error, as his superior senior air traffic controller Harry Barnes saw and confirmed the objects on the radar scope himself. Nugent started the night by joking about the fleet of flying saucers that seemed to be on the screen. Soon, however, he sees the unidentified objects streaking by near the White House and Capitol building. The situation now seems to be less of a joke and more of a national security threat situation. The controllers desperately trying to confirm what the blips could be, but there are no known aircraft in the vicinity of the objects on the radar, and the objects aren't following any known flight paths. Barnes adds an even stranger observation, confiding in you. We knew immediately that a very strange situation existed. Their movements were completely radical compared to those of ordinary aircraft. Perhaps it's a machine malfunction, you wonder. After all, there has to be some kind of reasonable explanation.
To show you right there, Esau, they watching your ass. You are literally a cat, or you're literally a rat caught in a trap, man. Ain't no way you can go. These chairs have been circumventing around your shit, and you want to say, oh, they're invading America's airspace, but you're invading everybody else's airspace. You're literally setting up no-fly zones over sovereign lands. Like, who gives you that right? Okay, but no, look at this comment. It says, I was reading a comment. He says, I saw the exact thing he's describing fly over my house in October. 3 fireballs flying low. So people are getting eyewitness accounts of these chariots, man. Like, I did a video, I want to say back in October, about one literally flying through a neighborhood in Kansas City. I wonder why more videos ain't coming out about that. But then again, I haven't really did the research to find out. Maybe I'll do the research and find out, hey, maybe somebody did pick this up, because it was picked up on somebody's somebody's doorbell, because those modern doorbells, they have cameras and motion sensors now. A case of thievery and break-in, and allegedly, or so happens, this camera picked up on this flying saucer, or this craft, this chariot, going through the neighborhood in Kansas City, and it shocked the hell out of people. And it must have happened probably overnight, because usually people see something to that magnitude, they will instantly get the smartphones out. But it must have been overnight. That's probably why people don't have many footages of it. But regardless of it, the shit, man, this is real, man, you know. And like I say, from cargo slave ships to spaceships, people think we're bugging out because we're speaking on so-called UFOs, which are the chariots of the Heavenly Father. But hey, we gonna see who's the crazy people in a minute, man, because we gonna get out of here by way of spaceships. Ronald Dalton. All right, but now this is a spiritual scene here too, because this is the movie, what they call Independence Day, when the chariot hoovered over the White House and it destroyed it, totally smoked it, eviscerated, because this is a big start of our oppression right here, you know. And the Most High is coming to throw down this wicked ass kingdom, and I can't wait, man. I can't wait till the kingdom of heaven is established, and we ain't got to deal with this superficial lifestyle no more. This is too much, man. It's too much. It's just like, what the hell? Everybody's artificial now, man. Nobody's real. Nobody's genuine. Nobody's in a spirit of charity, man. Everybody is just a bunch of just loose-minded lunatics, man. Just like, who the hell is these people? These people got demons on them, you know? But this is the book of Revelation 19:11. It says, "And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. In the righteousness he does and judge and make war." So for all you Jesus drinkers out there, man, that think that the Lord is all jolly and happy, why did it say that he judge and make war? Okay, he judge and make war. You have to understand the concept of that. Okay, he judging and make war for all. Okay, nobody judge me. Well, the scripture just say he judging and make war. And his eyes were of a flame of fire. And also that white horse represents the ship he's coming back in. It says, "And on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with the vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of the Most High. And the armies that were with him in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean." Okay, so when you go back to this this phenomenon here, basically, man, those armies, okay, that's those horses that it's talking about, which horses represent power. But nonetheless, man, if you was Truman at that time, you had to be shook because, you know, Truman was a straight demon, man. And matter of fact, he's from Independence, Missouri. He's like 15 minutes from here. He's from this state. You know, they got a whole street commemorated after this devil here, Harry S. Truman, man. Yep, they have a street named after him right here in Kansas City. He's from this wicked ass state. You know, but nonetheless, man, this is gonna be crazy when this whole ordeal really shows itself. And I believe that's when a lot of brothers are gonna start getting healed. You know, even though the men of the Lord are going to do a primary bulk of the healing. But I believe that once those angelic forces show up, I believe brothers, that confidence and that tenacity that brothers had is going to be reignited. Though it's still there, but that desire to keep going and pushing, knowing that we have hope and faith is going to give us the motivation to really get bold against this devil, man. Because like I say, man, we're going to need help. Okay? We're definitely going to need help in the times we coming into. All right? But going back to the precept, and it reads, it says, "And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he should rule them with the rod of iron," which is very oppressive, by the way. It says, "And he treaded the winepress of the fierceness of the wrath of the mighty power." Okay, and that's the point, man. The fiercest in the winepress of the almighty power. So let's get the precept of that real quick. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, because it gets graphic here. Isaiah, the 63rd chapter. All right, this is the book of Isaiah 63. And I'm going to start at 1. It says, "Who is that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Bozrah?" Bozrah is a capital city in Edom. Bozrah would be considered your modern day America. It says, "That is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. That I speak in righteousness, mighty to save," which is Yahweh Shai, which means he saves. It says, "Wherefore thou art red in thy apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth the wine fat." Okay, think of grapes, okay, and the fat of grapes, how much stain and blood and juice that it carries. It's pretty much to the point you can't get that out of your garment. It says, "I've tried the wine press alone." Okay, and when he showed up over the White House, who runs the White House? Who sits in the power seat? Esau, which proves that the so-called white man is the Edomite. For all you fucking crackerjacks out there that's trying to disannul that. It says, "And of the people there was none with me. For I would tread them in my anger and trample them in my fury, and their blood should be sprinkled upon my garments, and I shall stain all my remnant." It says, "For the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year of my redeem is come." All right, and that's the point. And it says, "And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. Therefore my own arm brought salvation into me, and into my fury it upheld me. And I would tread down the people in my anger and make them drunk in my fury, and I would bring them down their strength to the earth," man. And this White House represents the strength of Esau's kingdom, man. Okay, because you have a trilateral city. Okay, you have what they call the military aspect or the militia aspect. You have the spiritual aspect, and then you have the financial capital. Okay, which is the UK. Okay, then you have the spiritual aspect where they pray to their demons. Okay, which is called Vatican, which means serpent city. Okay, I believe that's what Vatican means, the city, the serpent. And also you have the militia aspect behind this man's kingdom, which is basically his safe haven, because behind every rich haven, you have to have some type of firepower that's protecting your assets. And America is that because they gloat in their military might. Okay, so it makes sense. It says he would bring their strength down. And when he showed up over the White House, that lets him know that, look, we getting ready to bring you down, man. Just a matter of time. And the crazy part about it is the prophets, we wasn't even on the scene yet. And the Lord was already flexing his muscles. So how much more now? If you put that into, context. But going back to Revelation 19, and this chapter really sums it up in Revelation 12 and 12 as well. But and it reads here, and it says, out of the mouth goes a sharp sword, and he should smite the nations, and he should rule them with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness of the wrath of the Almighty power. And he have on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords, because the Lord is over all, he's supreme over all. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great power, that ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of the mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and all them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. And I can't fucking wait, man. You fucking heathens, man. You gotta go down, man. And that's sure how righteous the Lord is, because even the fowls of the heaven are gonna get their taste of flesh in that day, because that's what they're created for. Ravens, crows, they're considered scavengers, man. So what they do, they eat dead carcasses. It makes sense. That's their whole thing. They dispose of dead carcasses. Like if you have dead bodies laying in the streets, just imagine in America when all hell break loose, those rotten bodies out here, you're gonna have a lot of ravens, a lot of crows and so forth like that, man. And you notice they have black hoods because black represents death, man. So it makes sense. So there's gonna be a lot of that, and those fowls are gonna be attacking people, man. It's gonna be like a horror movie over here, man. But it says here, and I saw the beasts and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet, which is the Vatican, or the Vatican, it says, and wrought miracles before him, with which had deceived them that had received the mark of the beast. So this is after they took to see him and them that worshipped his image. And these both were cast alive into the lake of fire, burning with fire and brimstone, which is the missiles when that hit. And the remnant was slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which the sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh. So Hawashi's coming to fuck shit up, man. Period. Okay. Last precept here. This is the book of Zechariah 5, and I'm going to start at verses 4. It says, and I will bring it forth, says the Lord of hosts, and it should enter into the house of the thief, into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name, and it should remain in the midst of his house, and should consume it with the timber and the stones thereof. And this represents this being in the midst of the house of the thief, man. Because how did he get America? He stole it from Gad and Reuben and Ephraim, the northern tribes. Okay? But anyway, with that, brothers, I'm going to end it there, giving all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai. And with that, shalom and above all, shalom.